What did you make of the out-and-out numbers of revenue growth at this particular moment?
Yeah, well, it's clear that Meta's year of efficiency has really paid off. Many of the measures that it took last year helped it reduce its costs, it reduced its headcount, and even with this leaner team and operations, it was really able to exceed expectations really across the board, and importantly, of course, in its core line of business, which is advertising. And to me, this is really a testament to Meta's execution power. If you look across the social landscape, it isn't the coolest or the most exciting social player out there, but it is the most sophisticated, and it knows how to drive business, and advertisers really like that.
Yeah, they were investing in the underlying advertising technology to better serve their clients. But what do you make of also the talk of generative AI? The llama has become basically the giveaway when you go to AI events, and much of that is, of course, based on their large language model. But what does it do in terms of future revenues, Jasmine?
Look, Meta wants to be an AI heavy hitter, and it is working hard and investing in AI to be able to do that. On the earnings call, just in the prepared remarks, you heard executives mention the word AI about 50 times, which really shows how much they're trying to emphasize their work there, as well as how much they truly are working there. And its AI investments have already proved to have a positive impact on its ad business. They talked a lot about its automated tools and AI-driven ad formats really driving performance. And at the end of the day, advertisers, they want efficiency and they want effectiveness. And those investments have really paid off there. And that bodes well for its broader ambitions in AI as well.
I think what we're understanding, Jasmine, is the relationship between the ad business and AI now, right? And so Bloomberg writes in the blog, Meta is still the king of digital advertising. But what they point out is that the boost is coming from China-based companies on spending, and it's an association with AI-generated content. Do you understand that relationship and how AI is basically growing interest in its ad base?
Absolutely. I mean, AI, of course, is growing interest in its ad base, and generative AI, in terms of the creative tools that Meta is also rolling out for advertisers, will do a lot to prove that. I mean, the China-based advertisers is a potential risk factor, though I wouldn't say it's necessarily the biggest one, because they have been buoying spending as well throughout 2023.
Later in the program, we're going to go very deep on Apple's Vision Pro. And it makes you think about the Meta Quest 3.
Yeah.
You know, it is hard to keep up with Meta. We were a social media company, and then we were a metaverse company, but it was expensive, so we stopped. And now we're an AI company. Did you get any sense of, like, where the hardware fits into all of this, and if the metaverse dream is still alive?
Well, the metaverse dream is very much still alive. They didn't talk about it as much on the earnings call yesterday. Again, the focus was really on AI. And for me, the big challenge now is for Meta to be able to prove that those two big bets, one being AI and the other being the metaverse, really are complementary. It started to lay some of the foundation for that, thinking about the Ray-Ban smart glasses, and it talked about good sales for its Meta Quest in the last quarter. So there are some signs of progress there. Still, for me, the metaverse is somewhat of an ill-defined concept, and it's something that Meta is going to have to continue to prove as it continues to form this vision. It also has to ensure that it can keep up the momentum in its advertising business, or investors won't be as willing to overlook those losses that continue to mount in Reality Labs.
Interestingly, maybe Apple's Vision Pro serves as some boost to sales to Meta going forward as they help with outlining the vision. Jasmine, I'm interested, though, you said that China, for example, isn't the biggest risk. For you, what is the biggest risk? Is it regulation?
It's certainly one of them. I mean, just this week as well, CEO Mark Zuckerberg testified in front of Congress about protecting children online. That was a really heated conversation, and it's clearly going to be one of their biggest challenges this year. I mean, teen popularity has become, somewhat of a liability, at least in the eyes of lawmakers. But young people also represent Facebook and Instagram's largest, or one of their largest, really, opportunities for growth. And it's going to have to walk a really fine line in terms of protecting their safety on these platforms and generating revenue. There's also, of course, a lot of other regulation that Meta has to think about, both here in the US and in the EU. And then there's the digital ad market. I think Meta was able to allay some concerns already in the earnings call yesterday, but it is susceptible to fluctuations in the economy that really can impact advertiser demand.